Welcome to the Pastor Chira Show. I'm Pastor Chira, and today we launch. We launch into new mindset. We launch into new territory. We launch into new relationships. You ready to launch out? Come on and launch out with me as we go into this conversation today. And as you've seen, we have been having our young people showcased on the Pastor Chira Show because our young people are doing amazing things. They are conquering this world like none other, and they are doing it at an age where we didn't even think about doing things and making changes and starting businesses and, making sure that our voices were heard. Well, this young lady right here, she started something, and she started something that has been trend setting, and it has changed the lives of not only her, but many. And that is none other than Jordyn Grier, nope, Jordyn Parham Grier. And she is here with us today. I'm so excited. And I still did it wrong. Listen, it's Jordyn. This is Jordyn. Right, Jordyn?
Yes.
Your
Yes, it
parents are
is.
so going to get me. Both of them. They're going to get me. But I love them. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on the show today. I really
Listen,
appreciate it. Thank you.
I I appreciate you. Listen, I think I'm more excited than you are because you have just been doing amazing things. I've been watching you. I've been following you. Listen, I have been up on it. Like everything that you do, I'm liking it. I'm sharing it. But before we get to that, how about you introduce yourself to the viewing audience on today?
Okay, well, hi everyone. My name is Jordyn Grier-Parham. I am 19 years old. I am a singer, songwriter, and entrepreneur. Um, and I started my business, IKMW, standing for I Know My Worth, in the brink of this pandemic, because I wanted to make a difference, and I really wanted to start something that I thought would really accomplish and help people and help different individuals just like me and others different than me. And I feel like I'm the type of person that really wants to take a chance and change lives for the better. And I feel like this was my opportunity to do so.
Listen, and you have done so. You have so done what you have set out to do, but this is just the start. This is just the start of IKMW. But why? Why? I know you said that you wanted to, you know, do something to make a change for others, but what was that change? Where did this get started for you? Why is I Know My Worth something that you started to say, but you made it something for others to say as well?
Well, IKMW, as for I Know My Worth, I thought that this would be a really good chance for me to share something that I've always wanted to share. And I started this because I have always went through a hard time believing in myself and sometimes fearing that I wasn't enough. I always put the fear in front of everything else, and I wanted to stop that. And
Mm,
I realized that I could do something about that. And I realized also, because of the pandemic actually pushing me, I realized that so many other kids like me and adults had a hard time believing in themselves and believing that they're all they need. They themselves are all they need.
mm-hmm,
They don't need anyone else. They don't need to prove to anyone else that they're enough. They need to know that they're enough.
mm. But and it's true because it's not the statement IKMW, but when you say it, I know my worth. Like it's not a question, it's a statement. It sounds like it's a declarative statement that you can stand in front of the mirror when you feel like you're not enough, or when you feel like you don't have enough, or when you feel like you're not worth it or you're not worthy, right? You can stand in front of the mirror and you can make this declaration. Is that something that you did?
Yes, actually, that is a great explanation of how statement of how I wanted to explain because IKMW, I know my worth is something that you need to say to yourself. Like in order for anyone else to believe it or for you to say something to someone else to encourage them, inspire them, any way that you want to. You have to say it to yourself first. You have to say I am enough. I know my worth and I know that I'm good enough just as I am.
And we have to believe it first. Like if we don't
Right.
believe it, how are we putting it out to others? And so, have you been able to help others see and know their worth? And how have you been able to do that?
Well, I tried to do it as simple as I could because I knew that when I started this that it was something that was very serious. It was a serious thing. You know, I didn't want it to be a joke. I wanted everyone to realize that, this is something that everyone needs to know. And it's something that everyone needs to know, especially now in this time period with the pandemic going on and the brink of it. And especially at the time that I started it, a lot of people were going through a hard time, especially me. And I wanted to do something that I thought would really inspire people to wake up and to realize that they need to make that change and realize that they don't need to change. Like they need to make the change, but they don't have to change themselves. They just need to realize that they are enough and that they can inspire others, but they have to realize that they are enough first. They have to look at themselves in the mirror and realize that. And that's what I had to do before I even started this.
Why? What got you to this place? Because, you said you're 19. So your company's been in existence for how long?
I started IKMW in December of 2020. So I
Okay.
started when I was about to graduate high school.
Okay.
And I was in my senior year. And I actually came up with the idea because I was having a really hard time realizing that I wasn't able to have a real graduation. I wasn't able to have a real prom. All these things that normal kids would be able to have was taken away from me and everyone else in my generation of class. And I wanted to do something to help people realize that they weren't alone. They weren't alone, and to always keep up fighting, never give up because
So the
things can
struggle
always
was real.
change. Yes,
The
definitely.
struggle was really real.
Yes, it was definitely, and especially because I part of the reason why I started IKMW is because I had such a hard time, not only now, but actually a lot before then. In my younger years in middle school, I was bullied in middle school, so it actually really it didn't my self esteem was very hurt, and I had a hard time trying to realize that I didn't have to prove anything to anybody else. And I took the time now. Sadly, I didn't realize it until now to start this change with my business to help others like me and anyone else who feels like they can't say anything or anything along the lines of them feeling like they're being left out or anything along the lines of that. I wanted to help them. and that's
So
why
where
my 4 areas of focus on that.
so what are your 4 areas of focus?
Well, my 4 areas of focus. My first one is never compromise one's integrity. That's
Mm,
one. My second one is to be faith driven. That's my
mm.
second. My third one is to never give up. And my fourth one is to lead with compassion.
Ah, Jordyn.
I
Okay.
wanted to focus on those four. Those are my four
Wow.
areas.
Wow. Those these aren't areas that old folk know. Like people in their 40s and 50s and 60s, like they don't even see or acknowledge these type of areas. And how did you develop your 4 pillars?
Well, I wanted 4 examples or 4 pillars, as you said, to express like the meanings of what everyone really needs to know. Like
Mm,
my first one of never compromising your integrity, that one is probably my most favorite one, I believe,
mm-hmm,
because that's a main thing I think people have an issue with. I
mm.
think because it's like everyone can have their different examples of what integrity means, and you want to make sure that you're on that right path of it. I feel like, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. It does. Because people, they stray. We stray from our path of integrity so much. Like, and it's easy because, we become followers and not leaders. Right? And we're not
Right,
following, which goes to your second pillar, we're not following the word of God, right? Being faith driven, right?
right,
So that takes us off of the path. So if we stay if we stay on the path of the word, we'll stay on the path of integrity because we will stay on the path that Christ has led and guided and set for us. And that is, oh my God. Listen, oh my gosh. So we're coming up on commercial time. And I know you have 2 more pillars. We'll get to that on the other side. We'll tap into the other 2 pillars. But I also want to talk about something else that you're doing, and that is your music. And the song that was recently released in March. I really want to get to talk to that. So we're going to go to a commercial, and right after the commercial, we will talk about the other 2 pillars and your music. We will be
okay.
right back. Do you have a service or a business that helps others? Do you have an uplifting, inspiring, and encouraging conference or service coming up? It's time to get the word out. Advertise on The Pastor Chira Show. Go to thepastorchirashow.com and click on advertising opportunities to learn more. Let's let the world know about you. We are back. And we are back with Jordyn Grier-Parham. And we are talking about IKMW. And we were talking about the pillars. We were talking about the pillars. And we started talking about the first 2 pillars. And then your second 2 pillars. Where did they come from? Like, how did that come into play?
Well, after my first two, my second two were actually my second two were serving with a purpose and leading with compassion.
Hmm.
And well, because they all kind of went in order, sort of thing. But my second two, serving with a purpose. Let's start with that one. That one I came up with because you want to make sure, like I said, you're on that right path. And serving with a
Mm-hmm.
purpose, you want to make sure that you are that you're following, pretty much that you're following what the Lord intended. That you're following what you need to do, that you're serving, that you are doing the right thing, because I know a lot of times people mix up the right and the wrong, and
Hmm.
they need help with that. So that's where serving with a purpose came. And my last one, which was after of course leading with compassion, serving with a purpose, never compromising your integrity, and being faith driven. All four of them really, I wanted, like I said, the four of them to really impact you, not just have
Hmm.
simple rules, but have sort of focuses, or area of focuses that you can live by. And that's
Right.
where I came up with that.
Right. Because if we're serving with a purpose, right, our purpose is going to be driven by our compassion. It's going to be
Right.
driven by what what's going on and how we feel about what's going on, and doing it with the purpose of love and not the purpose of hate, doing it with the purpose of build and not the purpose of destroy, right? So we're doing it with a purpose because we have to make sure that we're doing what God has called us to do, which is why we need to
Right.
be faith driven, right? So
Right.
we're doing the
Exactly.
purpose that He's given us, right? And He's
Yes.
not going to do anything in anger and disarray, right? He's going. His whole thing, the message of God, the message of Christ is what? Love, right? So he's always compassionate upon the people. I am, I'm, I'm not amazed, but I'm amazed, and I'm so proud that you have purpose and you're driven and you are faith driven and you are faith focused and you have this compassion for others in order to help them in and with IKMW, because you had something that you saw a need and now you're helping others where they might not see a need, but because of you, they now see that they have worth. And you are showing that not just through your organization, but you're also showing that through your creativeness. And your creativeness is your songs. And you recently had a song released. Tell us a little bit about that song.
Okay. So my this song is called Reflection.
Hmm.
And this song really came from a place from me where I wanted to show people that it kind of all connects. And I really wanted to, the lyrics in the song really explain that sometimes people are, sometimes people are moving in circles. Sometimes people get lost. Sometimes people can't find their way, but you just look to the Lord, and when you do, He can guide you and help you right and help you back on that path. And that's where I kind of wanted to. That's what kind of explain. What's kind of explained in the song, really.
Because the reflection of Christ will give you the reflection of you in order for you to continue on to do what you have to do. We're going to take a quick listen to Reflections, and we're going to come right back and we're going to talk a little bit more about Reflections. No matter what lies in front of you, 'cause you never know what's in store for you. Just trust in the Lord and He'll guide you through. With His love, you can do anything. He's the King of Kings. Wow, that song is amazing. I like it really speaks to us really reflecting on who we are, who God is, and where we're going and why. Like it really speaks to that. But where did it come from for you?
Well, a reflection really. Well, let's start with the title. Really, I had a hard time coming up with the song in general because I couldn't come up with what I wanted it to be about. And when I decided on reflection, I realized that all of my words kind of connected to that title because it came from a place from me where I felt like I was so lost. I felt like I was so lost, and I felt like I had no way of showing that except through my words. And when I wrote it, it kind of just all connected for me, realizing that, yes, what's in front of me, this is what I'm feeling, and this is what I want to show. And you realize that it's not just you who feels this way. And it kind of just all connected in that way.
Wow. And everything just seems to connect for you. Everything just comes
Yeah.
together in one. And I know we talked about this being recently released, but this isn't your first song. You did
No.
one prior to this. Uh-huh. Yeah,
Yeah.
we found this out. What was your first song?
My first official single was named Live. That was my first official single. And that song was very much in the beginning, in the brink of the pandemic, kind of around the time that I was starting IKMW. And which again goes back to the connecting of everything.
It all
Because
connects.
yes, and it connects because Live I wrote right in the brink of it, and it was right at the time where everyone, all I saw all over the place was people just feeling like they couldn't live their lives. People feeling like they couldn't, since they couldn't go out the way that they used to, since they couldn't see their friends the way they used to, their family even. People who are as close as me and my mother are couldn't even see each other. It was so terrible. And I was thinking, I was like, since I'm about to start writing these songs and going further with my music, what can I write to really inspire people? And I thought Live was the perfect title for it because everybody needs that inspiration to keep living and to keep moving on. Don't stop your life because of all this, because every
What
life
about
is important.
to be who we are, to live our truth, um, regardless of what other people think, regardless of what other people want for us? Is this what God has for me? Is this what is going to please Him? And is this what's going to please me? I can't worry about everybody else. I can't do for everybody else if I'm not fulfilled in myself by doing what God has for me to do and living my truth. Living my truth. Oh my gosh, Jordyn. Listen, you're not the only one. I mean, I think a lot of us have not lived our truth. But I think with IKMW that we can learn to know our worth, to live our truth. We can know our worth to live our truth. I thank you so much for being a part of the Pastor Chira Show and sitting with me and talking on today. But you have some things coming up. Can you tell the people what you have coming up and how they can get in touch with you and how they can be a part of IKMW and they can donate and, whatever. Just how can people be in touch with you and what do you have coming up?
Yes, of course. Okay, so firstly, as for IKMW, I have an event coming up. I do in May. I have an event coming up in May. I'm partnering with Serenity Baptist Church, and we are going to be feeding the homeless, and that's going to be in May, the last Saturday in May. And you can reach me for that at www.iknowmyworth-iknw.org. or you can email me at Jordyn Grier at iknowmyworth-ikmw.org. And as far as anything involving me with my music or anything you want to know further, you can contact me through info at jordangrierparham.com. And you can find all the information there with my website at www.jordangrierparham.com. And you can see all of the songs that I've done, all my official songs, both of them, all of the merch, because there is merch, and just a few things you can see on there. And yeah.
So we can support Jordyn Grier-Parham in all of her endeavors, all that she's doing, because I'm telling you, this is not the last that we've seen of you. I am excited about where you're going, what you're doing, and I'm excited to be a part of your circle. I'm so excited. I thank you for being on the Pastor Chira Show. I thank you for sitting with me today and sharing yourself, not only with me, but with the world. Thank you for being who you are. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Listen, we have just heard from one of the amazing young people of today, and eyes have not seen, ears have not heard. Yes. I'm excited about what God is doing in her and with her. And listen, what God is doing in and with you as well. Know your worth. Know your worth. And if you have to stand in front of the mirror and say, I know my worth, make that declaration. Make that declaration today and every day. Know your worth. Because God has put purpose in you. He has put destiny in you. And He has put more in you than the world has seen. I'm Pastor Chira. This is the Pastor Chira Show. And I'll see you next week. God bless. Coming up on the Pastor Chira Show. And this lady is someone who is a mother that has mothered her three to be exceptional young ladies. And I want to bring on none other than MJ Stroman, otherwise known as Miss Melanie. Hi, Miss Melanie.